you had directors say to you, Anirudh, sambhal lo ab, because nothing else can be done. Save it with your music.
No,
I'm sure you have. Because I know that you can see that here, there are places where the music's saving it.
I'm 100%, ma'am, because there will be areas in a film. It's obviously
Where it sags, right?
where
It
it's
happens,
because
yeah.
it can't be going in one plane, right? So
Yeah.
there will be areas where you'll have to amp it up. And there will be areas where you have to tone it down also.
Yeah,
Ma'am.
yeah.
Sometimes it may be a whole sequence may be too loud compared to the rest of the film. There you can't score loud. You have to like tone it down. And sometimes it may just be like a high-speed walk, but then you have to amp it up so much just to build the character. So yeah, that kind of thing happens. But that's our job, ma'am, and we enjoy doing it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Tell me about the high speed, because so much of it, of this
In Jawan.
in Jawan, in Jailer, in all these films, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, in Jailer,
Lokesh's films as well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
high
yeah.
speed is such an element
Yeah.
of course, delivering pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, because it's so kick-ass to
Yes.
just see
Yeah.
these heroes
Yeah,
and the women as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how does that work? Are you looking at it and saying, okay, there's going to be like a musical punchline there? Is that how it works?
100%, ma'am. Because the moment there's high speed, it's impossible to leave silence over there. Because no, ma'am, as a film,
You can't walk in high speed in silence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basic film grammar that you can't leave silence there. So how much you're going to elevate, that is the question, depending on the scene. The thing with Jawan, ma'am, for us what we faced is there were a lot of emotions going on back to back. In the sense, there's a lot of for example, if you take the train heist, Shah Rukh sir is being villainic. And then suddenly, within a few seconds, there's a story of a farmer happening somewhere else. So how we're going to musically connect those things is what was challenging for us in Jawan, because there's a lot of emotions which were happening back to back. It's not like the movie is in a certain mood and there's an elevation and then a drop. No, as I said, there'll be a crazy heist, and immediately there'll be a father and son, sentiment.
Yeah, very grim.
Yeah. So our job in Jawan, or the main challenge that we faced in Jawan, was how we're going to connect these things together musically so that it seems seamless for the audience, was what our job was in Jawan, ma'am, especially.
But it must be also very challenging because, okay, so there's 3 versions of Shah Rukh, right?
Yeah,
there's the 2, but then there's the 3rd.
Yeah.
And each version gets some 5 entries.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Each one gets like multiple hero entries.
Right.
So how did you figure out that in this we elevate this much, but the second one, then Vikram Rathod walks in again.
Yeah.
First we see him with the bandages.
Yeah.
Then pre-interval we see him again.
Yeah.
How do you know like the secret sauce of here's this much? That's so tricky, right?
Yes, ma'am. With respect to Jawan, as I said, it's almost equal to working on 2-3 films for us. Yeah. Because of the number of characters, number of emotions and stuff like that. With respect to your question, ma'am, if you take a look at the character with the bandages, initially.
Right. In the opening
initially,
sequence.
there we went. Our thought process was to go with the geography that's happening in the past. That's a tribal area. So,
somewhere on the border.
Yeah, somewhere on the border. That's a tribal area.
Yeah.
So let's create music over there for that tribal world, but with heroism. So we created our whole inspiration was Wakanda and stuff like that for that kind of a zone. Now if we shift to the Azad character, he's more of a chill guy and stuff like that. So for him, we went for cooler music in the sense of today's day and age, and what elevation we could do for him in today's day and age. Now when you went to Vikram Rathod, his character, when we watched the film initially itself, the moment he is introduced, he wears his AirPods or his earphones, and we wanted his character to be listening to old school rock. That kind of a vibe was what was in the director's mind as well. So that's why the moment Vikram Rathod enters, if you see, his entry would be the same tribal chant, but with modern instruments was his entry through the smoke.
Because he is the same guy.
He is the same guy.
Right.
So, but we can't use the instrumentation or the arrangement that we used for the tribal world.
Yeah.
So the same chant, but with today's, modern arrangements was the idea for his entry. The moment he wears the headphones, he goes into a rock world. So he goes into like I told you what we used to play in college. That kind of a vibe was his thing. So when we watched the film, I think it was all musically planned by the director itself. If you look at it, for him to have the tribal world, so it all just fell in place organically. Man.
Yeah.